And there we go. Are we? How's it? And there we go. Back again. We never went anyway. Just the internet decided not to work with us. So this is take 2. How's it, guys? And welcome. And thank you so much for joining us on our GPB live stream. Well, we are hoping it's live. So we are just checking all of that out. And today we are actually with Michael Pretorius in Michael Pretorius Photography, and we are in his studio. So Michael, how's it? How are you? Thank you for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me. Welcome to my studio. Yeah, it's been good, and we've had some weird internet issues, but it's all good now, seeing that we are live. It also told me we are live. So yeah, we are back, but we technically never were here, according to everybody.
But we are now. We're like ghosts in the system, dude.
Yes.
Yeah, I see like little eyes and things happening on the screen over here, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
So please tell us, how did you start out in photography? What made you actually decide to become a photographer?
So photography kind of started out with I had no idea that I wanted to be a photographer. I used to do motorcycle trips in around South Africa, and we bought a camera, a 700D, to just document these trips, and I got a little free pass to go at Canon and learn how to do photography, learn how a camera works. And I just got hooked after that, and ever since then I still have not gone on a motorcycle trip. All the money has just gone into more equipment.
Shame, man, that's terrible that you have to just now buy camera equipment, but it's amazing that you had such an opportunity.
Yes.
So is there a specific style of photography that you prefer?
Yeah, so on my side, I love dramatic photography. I like dark, moody type of styles, depending on what type of photograph I'm doing, but normally I would gravitate more to the darker look in any type of photography, even if it's lifestyle photography, fashion photography, or just straight up portraits. I like a little bit more of a dark, moody portrait.
Dark and moody. Sounds very interesting.
Yeah.
So Michael, please give us an idea of your physical address and also your online platforms, please.
So my physical address for the studio, that is just newly being opened, is 19 BC Street, Velterfreden Park in Randburg. And my kind of social media is all very easy to follow. It's my name, Michael Pretorius. So if you're looking for me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all of that, Michael Pretorius. And if you don't find me like that, Michael Pretorius Photography, you will definitely find me.
Awesome, thank you. Then with you today is the model Jani Mills.
Hi.
Hi Jani, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, and how are you doing?
Cool, thank you. Thank you for joining us today and sharing the space with us. So please give us an idea of how long you've been doing modeling.
So I have been doing modeling for about 8 years now, but it's been on and off for 8 years. Yeah.
8 years, that's quite a bit of time.
Yeah.
And you prefer doing your work with Michael, for what reason?
So Michael is one of the few photographers that I have worked with that makes me feel really comfortable in the studio. There's always smiles and laughter in the studio. It's never serious. It's always just a good time to work together. I've worked with photographers where it was too serious and they try to be too perfect, where Michael is just a fun person to work with. And not just that, he's incredibly talented as well. So it's just a bonus point with that.
That's cool, and he also blushes, so that's pretty cool. Well, thank you so much, Jani. And you say there's a specific style of photography or modeling that you prefer?
So my favorite type of modeling is more cosmetic modeling, so anything with makeup, any more facial, those is what I enjoy the most. And then also I do enjoy very dramatic and moody pictures as well, moody portraits. Bit more on the darker side.
But you don't seem like a darker side person. You're so bubbly.
Well, we all have a dark side that no one knows about.
Look, I'm your father. I say. Well, guys, thank you so much. Michael, you guys can start getting ready over there. So,
thank you.
Our viewers out there today, so we'll be using a setup here with Dramatic Color Gel Studio Shoot. That's what we're going to be doing. So, Michael, I'm going to ask you to give us a rundown of what it is that you're actually going to be doing today, and also your light setup, please.
So today we're going to do a gel fashion photo shoot, but I'm going to take it into my style, which is a little bit darker, which we've kind of discussed now is like what I enjoy photographing. And so the light setup we have today is two lights on the side, creating a rim light with two color gels that are blue, so that we get a kind of an ambient light feel, but it also cuts the model out of the background so that she stands out more. Then we also have a orange gel that's going to be hitting the background, just to kind of give a little bit more pop color there, so it's just not this dark, like, void. And then we have a beauty dish on the top that is, it's just great for these type of photos because it's silver, you get some specularity on the skin, it's really smooth, and yeah, it's one of my favorite modifiers.
And just so you guys know, at the moment we're going to be running 3 8200s and a TT685.
Yes.
Oh,
right.
and then the light that's making me so pretty over here is the Godox SL60. I feel like a radio personality with this setup we have going here today. Now that it works, I don't want to stop talking, but I'm going to. Michael, please, buddy, just give us an idea of what it is that you do.
So, yeah, mostly what I do is fashion photography and fitness. Also, I do wedding photography as a professional business. And yeah, today I would have loved to show you guys the photos, but earlier in testing the live stream, which you guys didn't see, we were struggling to get Lightroom to cooperate. It's just too resource intensive to actually run the live streaming software and Lightroom at the same time, unfortunately. So if you guys do want to see the photos, I will be live streaming later today, showcasing the photos during an edit. Then you guys can also see what photos we've taken. I am going to color a little bit. I'm going to choose the better ones out of the session. But you guys are going to be able to watch me take photos, and I wish I could show you guys it. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, we're going to be showing it just now. You said you would, and it's going to be interesting to see, you know, what it is that you can actually achieve.
Yes.
So have at it.
Cool. Yeah, so firstly, we're just going to take a couple of test shots just to see when we, to get the lighting right, and then we're going to have at it and take as many photos as we can in different poses. So, yeah, let's go for it. And all the lights went to sleep while we were testing.
It's amazing how everything decided today. Today is the day that I'm going to just make sure we make our names Krater before anything else. Yeah, we're going to just have to just show people out there that you can break things sometimes without doing anything and just letting it go to sleep. It breaks.
There we go. There we go. Now she's blind.
Just a little bit.
Let's see. I don't want to toot my own horn, but that was actually pretty good.
Oh, just like that.
Yeah.
It must be because you know your studio quite well and your equipment.
Yes. The only thing I'm going to tweak quickly is the background light. It didn't show a lot, but it's also because it's too low behind her, so we're going to raise it up a little bit, and I'm going to point it up a little bit.
And that's all part and parcel of getting your lighting just right and your setup just right and the light at just the right spot. So there's always some tweaking that has to happen.
Yes. Just to make sure that everything looks perfect.
Yeah, perfect's quite important when you're making beautiful more beautiful.
So Gerard, do we have any questions coming in so far?
Not yet. Just people saying that we are live, and Boipelu Mokobo says massive studio. So thank you, Boipelu. Yeah. Lots of thank yous coming through. That's awesome.
Okay, let's see.
Now those blue gels that you're using at the edges there on the left and the right, you can just change that to a different color whenever you feel like it?
So yes, I can change them to a different color. We do have a large bunch of color rolls here on the table, as you guys can see. And you can change them out, swap them to any color you like. I would just normally prefer to use colors that are kind of, they work well together. So for me, blue and orange and teal is a very prominent color in our life. And we don't notice it because we get told this in photography often, that it's the cinematic color. But it's not actually. If you look at like daily life, you will see us as people all have a very orange pigmented skin, and the sky is always blue. So that's where orange and teal comes from. It's from the dirt is orange and that type of pigment or that type of shading of color, and the skies are blue. So orange and teal is very native to us, and it's very pleasing to see.
So is that why President Trump is so orange?
Yes. Yes.
I never knew why that man did that, but it's because it's our earthly color, says Michael.
Yes, it's a marketing scheme, man. At the end of the day, it's what attracts attention. You just spoke about it, so you got your attention.
Yes, you see, terrible.
That's how this media works.
So normally there would be some tunes playing as well in the background.
Are there tunes playing in the background?
I
It should
don't.
be. You'll get on that.
Nina's sitting here next to me with 2 headphones on her head. That is the first time I've seen that, co-host.
Yeah, I was impressed. I didn't expect this to go this quickly.
Gotta make a plan, make it work. So if you weren't as proficient as you are, how many shots do you think would it take you to set up to be now at a spot where you say, right, now I'm happy?
It normally takes me about 10 to 20 shots to get like the exactly where I want. But luckily enough, I do know my studio, so I do know the distance that the light is from the model. So I know where to put the power and gauge that accordingly. And so I would roughly say take 10 to 20 shots. It's also a good time to just get the model comfortable in a photo shoot. Just so that if it's a new model, I would always actually, if I'm not used to working with them, have a state of time in the photo shoot that you would end up having a little few test shots, because she'll be posing, she'll be getting nice and comfortable, and then you can just make a joke and say, okay, we're ready to start, you know?
And I suppose that's very important for the models to be relaxed so that you can get the best out of them.
Definitely, because the problem with a lot of like what people don't realize in photography is your first shots is normally your warm-up as well. So it's good to just, during testing, get the warm-up done. I never really use the first photos that I take in normally in a photo shoot, because they're okay, they're just not perfect. I just heard a light, I'll switch on here. And are we back?
Yes.
Cool. So yeah, I think it also, I think what's kind of good to note today is the lighting setup here, as intimidating as it looks with 4 different lights, is actually very easily obtainable if you use it properly. So yes, we've got 80-200s and all of that, but you don't need this technically to achieve this type of look. You can definitely buy a couple of speed lights that will do the same thing. I've done this with speed lights. I actually have them in the cupboard, but because we're in my studio today, I'm going to use the lights that I want. So.
Which is the Godox 80-200s.
Yes. So,
just thought I'd chuck that in there too.
Yes. So, and also we're using very simple modifiers today, except for I'd say the beauty dish. But again, it's not the most complicated modifier. We have 2 just silver reflective umbrellas in the background that is creating this gorgeous rim light behind her, really cutting out of the background, and also with the orange gel in the background, she's even standing out even more with that blue tint around her.
That seems amazing.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is take a couple of more photos, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show it to Gerard and how I can talk about it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd be talking that much about photography, but I love it.
Yeah. And the audience must please, if they have any questions, feel free to ask and we can definitely answer them. Cool. Okay, let's show Gerard quickly.
Cool. Oh, wow. Yeah, that is quite impressive to see these things. Obviously, you guys can't see it right now. You will a little bit later. But from what I'm seeing as the view from the outside and then the actual photo that ends up at the end of the day, that's amazing.
Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
From 4 lights.
From 4 lights, you can get very, very good studio.
From 4 lights.
Yeah.
So also, you mentioned that you started off by using normal flash guns, normal flashes.
Yeah, normal speed lights.
And that will work fine for you in a studio environment.
Yes, it would be fine for you in a studio environment. The thing what a lot of people don't understand about lighting is light generally just looks good from close up. So The only reason you want a lot of power, so the only reason I'd say you'd look at getting something like an 8400 or 8600 or that type of light is if you are taking consideration that you're shooting outdoors and also that you are shooting a model at a greater distance, because you need the light to travel. But the problem with that is you'll end up getting a much harsher style of lighting depending on your modifier size. So if you're going to be shooting this type of style of lighting, you don't want the lights generally to be far away from the model, so you don't care about the power output. The power output from a speed light will be sufficient enough for you.
So that's a benchmark there for putting in studio. You can use the flash guns easily enough, also bigger lights, and then if you're going to be working outside in the bright daylight, you would recommend going for a 8200 and something bigger.
Yeah. And also from our side, if you guys have any questions for any of the ambassadors, we do generally answer them, and if we don't see them, our media team will definitely let us know and ask us the questions for you guys.
Yeah, for sure. So the technical support and Tara and the ladies that take care of all the magic happening behind the scenes will have a look at all the comments and then answer you guys. If there's any questions that you want to pop around to us, get it out there and we can get back to you.
Definitely.
It's interesting to note that you actually started this specific studio where we are now right when lockdown started.
Yes.
So you haven't even been around here in this space for that long.
Yes, we moved in, so lockdown started on that Thursday and we moved in on the Wednesday.
Wow.
Yes.
So you actually had lots of time to settle in, eh?
Pretty much, we lived in the first month in boxes. So.
Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah.
So now in a setup like you've done here today, how many photos can you take in like an hour's time, do you think, more or less?
I normally say you can pace yourself at, now these are wedding rules that I'm going to spout now. They say normally about for every minute a photo in wedding rules, you know?
Every minute a photo.
Every minute a photo. But I also do want to urge people not to worry too much about quantity, focus on the quality of your photos. I generally take roughly about 70 to 100 photos a session. So out of all that 70 to 100 photos, I only pick 3.
That is a lot of work to do for 3 shots.
Yes, but the thing is, it's about being overcritical about your work. And yes, we all like to believe that every shot that we take is perfect. And even though I said the shots were good when we started, I can definitely say it's going to get much better at the end, because we're going to get nice and comfortable in the environment and we're going to take a bunch of photos. But yes, it's a lot of work for only 3 photos. But at the end of the day, those 3 photos are the best 3 photos of the session. If you put too many photos together, it ends up diluting it.
Okay. So we are also just going to push your level on your mic a bit there.
Okay. We're
You're a bit soft, yes.
Okay, cool.
Don't be soft. Be like me. Have a proper microphone to speak into.
Okay, next time. Budget didn't call for it.
Oh, wow. We'll have to work on that then, eh?
But I think something to really note today is working with a good model as well.
I suppose that makes life much easier when the model has got the experience and know the flow and how to pose and when to breathe.
Yes. It's really important having a good model. It makes the whole studio session or any photo shoot so much easier at the end of the day. Because if you're working with a model that you're not comfortable with or a model you're unfamiliar with, it slows down the process a lot. And a lot of the time, people have only an hour to give to the shoot, depending on the discussed thing. But it's good to have a good model. And if you're starting out, it's great to get a professional model in. Yes, it might cost you, models charge, as well as photographers. We all want to make money, but having a good model at the start, she can guide you a lot in the shoot as a photographer, helping you learn and get more comfortable with your equipment and your shooting style first, that you don't have to worry about posing her. Like we are today, Jani is a professional model, and it makes my job so much easier to actually talk to you guys knowing that I don't have to pose her.
Yeah, she knows what to do.
Exactly. So that takes stress off of me, and it gives me the chance to focus on telling people about the shoot.
But we also don't want to chase any aspiring models away. So
No,
even though you're not
definitely
a professional, you can just start, and then Michael can also help you with a few guidelines and a few pointers.
Definitely, there's a flip side to me saying like an unprofessional photographer should get a professional model. A professional photographer should get an unprofessional model, because the model can learn so much from the photographer, because the photographer can guide her on her good sides and her bad sides. You know, this is all ends up becoming a learning process. Unfortunately, sometimes photographers do charge, same as sometimes models do charge, but that's the nature of the game, to get good at what you're doing.
Here we go. So now, as a ballpark figure, once you've done this shot,
Yeah.
if you were now to market this hour to someone that needs a few shots for a portfolio, roughly what would you charge for this?
I am more of the higher end market, so I charge around about 1,500 Rand per hour.
1,500.
Yeah.
Would that include then your like the editing and stuff?
It does include the editing and stuff. You get roughly about 10 photos depending on the session, but then again, like I said, you will dilute the quality of your work if you give too many.
100%. So, and then also,
Yes, you can talk. I'm here.
yeah, no, I'm just interested to see how you're gonna, bend your knee by this step that you're about to ascend on as well. So I guess it helps if you're a bit,
Yes.
nimble is the word. Thank you.
Flexible.
Ja, genigtig.
Any questions so far for me, Gerard?
Not at the moment. There's not too many people watching right now.
Okay.
Hopefully there'll be a bit more coming in later.
Go. I'm going to do my pattern in.
There we go. Don't tear that hamstring. Do you sometimes change the backdrop if it's necessary? Because I see you prefer working on the black backdrop.
Yes, I do. We have changed it between, depending on what it needs. If you need a more lighter color, more airy color, I definitely do change it to white. It is a reversible backdrop, so it does have a white side to it. But generally, my style of work, black is my preferred color. It's just simpler, to cut the model out of the background for me, because
I
I'm lazy.
suppose it's different for every photographer and the way you do your own, because your style becomes your own style, and that's the way that you operate.
Like if for instance Craig, our other ambassadors, he likes shooting black and white work great with textures, and you definitely see that represented in his work.
Yes, he does quite a prolific amount of work, that guy.
Yes.
So how long have you been using the Godox lights now?
For about 3 years.
Wow, that long already.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well,
And your opinion about it?
I approached Godox to become an ambassador because I was really in love with their equipment. So my opinion was they were doing innovative stuff, getting into the professional industry of photography with lighting equipment, but at an affordable rate. So they are really well priced, and this is not even a paid promotion, this is my honest opinion.
Yeah, well, you own your own lights, so.
I own them, but I owned them before I became an ambassador.
Yeah, that's quite important to note while you're speaking about ambassadors. Sorry to interrupt you there.
No, sure.
Is that it is very important that anyone who wants to try and become an ambassador for Godox, there's quite a lot of things that you have to adhere to. One of the first thing is 80% of your income has to be photography orientated. And then the second thing is, most importantly, you have to actually own all your own equipment. We prefer we don't prefer, we just don't give equipment away to people. So that there's a perception out there that we're giving you the stuff that you're working with, but that's not correct.
Yes. So like today we are borrowing from Godox. They have been kind enough to borrow us some 8200s and a speed light for today. And that's awesome because it's nice having that brand backing, I'm not gonna lie. But generally, when I do my shoots, all my equipment's owned by myself. And the reason we choose to do stuff like this is, you'd be surprised how many emails we get for getting ambassadors and how many times our ambassadors actually have to go research you guys. And that's not because we don't want you in it, but we get so many people that just want to be an ambassador because they think it's going to skyrocket their stuff because they're going to get the full Monty of setups. They're going to get a bunch of equipment straight off the bat.
For free, and that unfortunately is completely wrong.
Yeah, we all love that though.
Yeah, we won't, because we won't be in business anymore.
Yeah. I mean, for instance, if somebody wants to be an ambassador doing this light setup, they're not going to settle for speed lights, they're going to settle for 8600 pros. Just imagine 4 lights, 8600 pros, how much that would set you back.
Quite a bit.
Then again, if you want to do that, you're more than welcome to send it my way.
Skip, nudge, wink, wink.
Wink, wink. But I think also a lot of photography gets missed. Like, we don't think about the whole picture of photography, especially when it comes to the speed lights or the flashes, is we think these are the be-all and end-all for our careers. I'm honest when I tell you guys, this stuff, the modifiers, are the most important pieces of kit you can buy after your lighting. Get some good lighting, but then focus on updating your modifiers over getting better lighting. It's good to have all the power in the world, but if you've got nothing to point it at, it's not going to work well for you.
That's quite important, to have the light shapers.
This shoot works specifically because the modifiers are picked perfectly. The Beauty Dish is a wonderful light. It's called the Beauty Dish for a reason. It's a wonderful light modifier because it creates a nice specularity on the cheekbones, it really cuts them out, and it doesn't leave everything in shadow as well, but it makes it nice and smooth and rounded. So it's just got a really beautiful quality. That's why they called it the Beauty Dish. And for the gels, having umbrellas, they're good at reflecting light, so they're good at spreading the color gels all over the place. And then behind us, we have a honeycomb grid modifier on a speed light, which allows us to channel and focus the color gel in one specific area, so that it doesn't spread all over the show, so that we get a nice cone of light behind the model, and not a big spread orange wash. So yeah.
And that's all achieved with different color gels.
Yeah, and different modifiers. Modifiers are the most important things when it comes to lighting.
I'd just like to mention to you guys that Michael's gone and put some reflectors on those 8200s, and then used some gaffer tape and just literally stuck the gel piece of plastic, piece of gel, just stuck it to the what's that thing? The reflector. Yeah, you would think when you look at the shot that it's got to be so much more professional, but then that's as professional as it gets, just like that, eh?
Yeah, let's see. We can show you guys. Our technical team, can you see?
It's a bit dark there, but you can see it.
There we go.
So yeah,
That's
just
much better, yes.
and a gel, perfect.
Yes. So that's how professional we are. We just stick it on there with gaffer tape. And then, I mean, that's the most cost-effective way of actually doing that. You don't have to get a very expensive
Gel kit, yeah.
gel kit that you have to use. You can literally just plug it on there.
Yes, and there you go. And these gels aren't expensive. They're like 100 and something grand. So you don't cry when you tear them like I've done. Also, a good thing to know for people, maybe later, if they're looking at getting into it, but their budget's not there, okay, they can buy cellophane for wrapping paper.
Cellophane.
Cellophane paper, colour cellophane paper. This is how I started this. Just normal cellophane paper instead of professional gels. Works just as good. You just might need to double it up.
Okay. Yeah, no, another favorite is Steve. He's also quite a big favorite
of the
I'm
cellophane.
using it, the buff tape or the duct tape to just clap the.
I actually carried his equipment once, and I don't think he's taken it off of the dish once in years.
No,
it's
that's
like, because
the
he
colour.
doesn't use gaffer tape, he used duct tape, and it was like gooey all around me because of the heat of the light. But I don't think he took it off like in forever. But it works. It works.
And it still works. It still fires. It still gives him that different color that he needs.
Yeah.
So now you would then carry on for this like an hour or so, and then if it's necessary, the model will then do like a wardrobe change or.
Yeah. So normally, guys can see in the corner we have a. Can we see? We do have outfits here, and we've got a makeup station for the model to change looks in between shoots. For live stream, we're not going to do that, obviously, not enough time, but that's kind of what we do, just to kind of get a variety. And a lot of the time, like I said, we don't end up using the first photos.
And speaking of time, we're just about at the end of our stream, so a few more shots there, and then you will then have a look-see later this afternoon and share those pictures that you've done online for us.
Yeah, what I'm going to quickly do is I'm going to take a few more photos. You can talk a little bit, and we'll put some of the photos on screen for them to watch.
Cool. I can talk a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I can't do all of it.
I've been talking all the time. Yes. But it's not really a difficult job. I must just talk sense. Sometimes it's a lot of nonsense. And the setup that you guys have got going here, so this is also the setup that you will use when you do your shots for the fitness shoot that you guys are doing later this week.
Yes.
Great stuff. So we've received
the SD card.
a SD card. It's going to now be inserted into the matrix, and then we're going to show you Oaks what has been happening. And the mixer desk we are using has got lots of very interesting little lights, greens and blues and pinks and purples. I've never seen such an interesting little mixing desk.
Mixing desk. Top right. Close there. You can just close it. Just lower, just bring down the live stream quick. Close.
And now we're going to get it.
It's not in there. Top right.
It's in the top right corner.
See there where it says close behind it?
It's an amazing thing how in our own heads when we're doing something, we know where to press the button, but when we're speaking to technical support, that's a different place on the screen.
Cool. And move it over to Gerard's side. Just move Facebook over to your side then.
So we're moving things around and
Go to editing. In my tab there, editing. And then display capture at the bottom. Graphics tablet. The one that's at the bottom. There's a little light icon, switch on. There we go. There's one of the photos.
cool. So now that's what people are seeing, correct?
Yes, that's what people will be seeing in a short bit. They just saw that little bit of dark air there, but there we go.
That is amazing. So guys, yeah, this is the end result of
If you want to pick some other ones, you're more than welcome to.
the setup. So now we have a real pretty person on screen. And Jani, so from the model side, what do you think of these pictures that are now streaming here past us?
In all honesty, I am very surprised with how good they look. But I'm always very surprised once I work with Michael and I see the results. I can't believe that is actually me.
Oh, wow. So yeah, it's interesting to see that now this is the dramatic look that we're speaking about,
Yes.
the black background.
The
You
black
see
background.
the fall of the blue light on the left-hand side there.
Yes, and definitely after the one thing people need to realize that the photo is not yet complete. We have now done the foundation. We've got a really good photo to start with, and I'm super happy with it. But what we're going to look at later is in post in Photoshop, where we're going to just take this to the next level.
I do see what you mean with the model being comfortable and having done this before,
Yes,
because it doesn't just happen, these type of shots.
yes, and that's the thing. That's why I would recommend people that are starting in photography to get a good model. And this is just knowledge from somebody like me who started off in photography, who didn't learn that from a model. Like, posing and stuff is a big question for photographers. But getting a good model knows how to pose. They teach you what is going to be good looking, and then you can replicate it later in life. And that's not me trying to say you shouldn't shoot with beginner models. They have to start somewhere, but it's going to be much more difficult for a beginner photographer and a beginner for a model to get great results together.
I get that, yes.
But both of them are learning, and that's probably the way that most of us start. I'm just trying to give you guys a little bit of information from what I wish I did when I started. And this is also to the models that are good. Please guys, this is a growing community. So help out the beginner photographers by being their models. And then pro photographers, help out the beginner models by being their photographers. Help each other grow, that we all can be great at this.
I love how you preach.
That's, yeah. It's just
No, you're quite right. You are quite right. All your points are quite valid. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us. I think we're going to be calling it for the day. Jani, thank you for your beautiful work you've done here. Michael, thank you for yours. And just before we go, can I please ask you to just give us an idea again, or not an idea, please tell us again your online platforms.
Cool. So Nina can switch over back to me. And so my online platforms are, you can also see it down below. We've got Godox on there, we've got Jani on there, we've got our technician on there, and we've got me on there, Mark Pretorius Photography. Again, if you guys are looking for me anywhere, Mark Pretorius Photography, pretty much you type it into any social media, you'll either find me or some other guy, but generally I'm the first one that comes up as Mark Pretorius Photography.
Yes, and we want to be the you. We want
Yes,
you, not the other guy that pops up.
Yes. So
Great stuff.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for having us today and letting us join you in your space.
Yeah.
And then we can't wait to see you guys all again next week, and we'll be chatting about the LED 500 panel kits that they use for photography as well. Guys, thank you. Have an amazing weekend and look after yourselves. Ciao.
Cool.